Human evolution's most iconic symbol is this picture, called the March of Progress, which was created by Rudolf F. Selinger in 1965 for Time Life magazine. However, this March of Progress for the human being was created by MX Monotone. Check them out on Instagram for more amazing works. The March of Progress shows a primitive ape evolving to become a modern human. But this is a big misconception on how human evolution actually works. And this misconception also applies to the research that led up to the image's creation. In the end, we're not trying to do things perfectly. And we're not marching towards some perfect end goal. Whether it's researchers, human evolution, or even you, we're all just trying to do the best we can with what we have. And in a way, isn't that perfection? Because just like human evolution and self-discovery, perfection isn't a destination. It's a direction. Before the March of Progress's release in 1965, paleoanthropology, the study of human evolution, was just getting its feet off the ground with the work of the Leakeys. The Leakeys were a family of paleoanthropologists responsible for multiple revolutionary discoveries of hominin fossils. So before them, there was only little evidence to how human evolution actually worked. But with this little evidence, researchers did the best they could by individually analyzing sparse fossils in the sequence of human evolution. This created how they thought human evolution worked, which was a straight line starting from a simple ape and ending at the human being.
And this concept was so impactful that the Leakeys used the March of Progress as the inspiration for their foundation's logo.
This evolutionary thought was called orthogenesis, or direct evolution. And if you want to learn about it in more depth, I made a whole episode about it, right here. Even back in 1965, people were skeptical of this single straight line way of thinking about human evolution. One of these people was Rudolf F. Selinger, the artist of the March of Progress. He was skeptical of his oversimplified design, but with the scarcity of fossil evidence and increasing interest in human evolution, his Time Life editor insisted on it, rightly thinking that it would have a huge public impact. Then, after its release in 1965, the March of Progress became one of the most recognizable images of all time, but also one of the most misunderstood. The public saw the March of Progress and immediately adopted this single linear way of human evolution as fact. Soon after, it became common in pop culture, such as The Simpsons' evolution of Homer Simpson, from monkey Irolatus to Homo sapien. And by that point, it couldn't be unlearned. Researchers now know that human evolution isn't working towards some perfect organism, but it's just trying to do the best with what it has, in the form of a pattern and process. But what exactly is a pattern and a process? A pattern is a repeated design, and a process is a series of actions. These repeated designs, or patterns, are acted upon by a series of actions, or processes, which over time produces change. A good analogy for this is actually origami. which is the art of folding paper, where its patterns of design are acted upon by its processes of folding the paper, which over time produces objects or animals. So when I say that human evolution is a pattern and process, what I mean by this is the interaction between nature's patterns, the genes and traits of organisms, are acted upon by its processes, such as natural selection, mutation, and genetic drift, that over time produce change, also known as evolution. So because of these patterns and processes, this is how we understand human evolution works now, which is multiple lineages separating, connecting, and rejoining together over time. This evolutionary thought is called the braided stream. And again, if you want to learn about it in more depth, I made a whole episode about it right here. And just like human evolution itself, human evolutionary research is also a pattern and a process. What I mean by this is that the interaction between researchers' patterns, hominin fossils, behavior, and molecules are acted upon by its processes, the scientific method, which over time produces change, also known as evolution. But just because we know that earlier research wasn't perfect, doesn't mean the way we research human evolution now is either. Just like how there's no perfect way to be you, research and self-discovery are both a never-ending pattern and process. So because of this new understanding, researchers have argued that we should get rid of the March of Progress and instead adopt a new symbol of human evolution. But I don't think we should, because the March of Progress is already ingrained in the public's view of human evolution. So just like human evolution itself, we have to do the best with what we have. There is no perfect symbol of human evolution waiting to be created. Just like how there's no perfect version of you waiting to be discovered. Instead, I think we should realize that the direct evolution of the March of Progress isn't actually how human evolution works. And instead of getting rid of it, we need to change our perception of it to a symbolic march of progress, not perfection. It was once said that perfection is not a destination, but a direction. And this couldn't be more true for both human evolution and self-discovery. There is no perfect way to study human evolution. And there is no perfect organism that human evolution is marching towards. Just like how there's no perfect way to be you, and there's no perfect version of you waiting to be discovered. We are all just trying to do the best we can with what we have. And in a way, that is perfection. So hopefully, by understanding human evolution and how it's studied, you can finally put yourself on the march of progress towards perfection's never-ending pattern and process.